Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another amazing episode of Conversation with Freedom. Today, I'm having a conversation with the amazing. She's so amazing, and her work is so remarkable. I've been following her work for years, so this to me is a dream come true. Samke Makhoba, welcome to my podcast.
Hey, hello, Freedom, and hello to listeners and viewers. Nice to meet everybody. Nice to meet you as well.
Yes. Okay, let's start. What's a typical day like for you?
A typical day.
Yes.
Which day? There's 3 days or my past days? There's so many days. I'm so old. I don't know which day you want me to talk about, or just like these couple of past days.
Yeah. Let's talk about the couple past days.
I mentioned this because my days have differed in a very marvelous way. If we're going to compare days from January to of this year or the past few years to this day, it's completely different. I was hard by the pandemic, and so I was at home for the longest of time, being in Pinetown. I stayed there for 2 years without work, just traveling between Durban and Johannesburg. So my days were really difficult until I had my next big break, if I could call it that, on the estate. And my days are now completely different, where I'm on set almost every day, and it's lovely to work. It's lovely to be active. I don't take it for granted. It's lovely to wake up at 5 in the morning, to work at 6 in the morning, and come and get back home at 8, because there's also travel time. So my days usually go like that, where I wake up early in the morning to go to work at 6 or 7, depending on the call time. Then work ends at 12 hours later at 6 or 7 or whenever, and it's like another hour, because it depends on where we're shooting. When I get home, I'm tired. I just want to sleep, but I also need to go through my lines just to wake up the next day to go over. It's tiring, but it's worth it, considering the fact that, as I had mentioned, my past in the past few years, it was difficult. And so I don't take these days lightly. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Now take us away back before we get into the work that you're doing, the amazing work that you're doing. Please take us way back. How was it like growing up in Pinetown?
I was born in Umlazi. I was born in Umlazi, and I was born there, and I was raised for like 6 years or so, and then I moved to Pinetown, where I spent a good 12 years, from first grade until matric. And I took a gap year after. So yeah, I think that's where I could say that I grew up there.
Do you have any?
Excuse me?
Do you have any childhood memories? Your favorite childhood memories that you like to share with us?
Yeah. So I'm doing this. So I want to talk about my career and growing up, and I want to say that I knew that I was going to be in the career that I'm in from the moment that I went to school, and I was around the people that I was around when I was in Pinetown. But it also stemmed from my upbringing in Umlazi as well, because I went to creche when I was there. So the stage life started when I was in creche, when I was as the little tree and the little girl, and the little I was always the little something. And I went to an amazing school, Ashley Primary School, where drama was taken really seriously, and we had those concerts, and we had monologue days, and then I went to a high school called Pinetown Girls High. Same high school as as pro to see. She was
Wow.
actually my
Wow.
my class mentor. Small world.
Oh.
But so I think it was there when I went to Pinetown Girls High when it was really certified for me that this is the route and the path that I want to take. Where we did a lot of theater, and I fell in love with the stage.
Yeah.
But not knowing that, you know, my path and my life was actually going to head in a different way. I always knew that I was going to be an actress, but you know, I ended up studying something on the other side. Well, I ended up studying film and television. So for me, it just wasn't about growing my craft as a performer, but I think just growing my craft as a filmmaker all around. So my education was just really important to me, and I knew that I was going to study what I want to do, and it just got very broad when I got into film. And you know, here I am now, you know, as an actress as well as making TV. So all films rather than making films.
What kind of advice would you give to that little girl or boy who have the dream to become an actress or an actor? What kind of advice would you give to that little boy or girl growing up in the rural areas? Yeah.
Well, of course that it's possible. Of course that it's possible, and nothing is impossible. Sorry, I'm hearing a plane. You know, every time actors hear a plane, I'm tempted to keep quiet because it's like a noise thing that we. But anyway, yeah. So excuse me. I mean, I would love to tell a young boy or young girl that it's possible, that nothing is impossible. I live by that. I know it and I believe it. There are opportunities. Opportunities are always, you know, going to be in front of you, or they're going to be hidden somewhere. Yeah. So how it took me years, literally years to get into the industry, to break in. But I knew that one way or another I was going to make it. If you have the faith, if you have the faith, it will happen. Another thing is that I knew that I was going to get into this. Like, I applied nowhere else.
Wow.
Like, I applied nowhere else. I was like, they're going to take me one way or another. And they did. And I was like, duh, they're going to take me. I knew where my destiny was, and I had so much faith in it. And I believed in it. And I prayed. On top of that, I'm a big spiritualist, especially in my African spirituality. I don't walk alone. I walk with a lot of my family on my shoulders, and I listen to them as well. When they tell me that this is what you should do, I listen and I do it. And they know that this is where I'm supposed to be. And it encourages me to know that I have my family in the physical world who support me, and I have my family in the spiritual world who support me. And we all have God on top who supports all of us, who supports me through everybody. So I mean, you can't be in the industry and not have, with all honesty, you can't be in the industry and not have some sort of a foundation that's going to back you, because it's not easy. It really is not an easy industry. You need support from all aspects. And if you find it in the physical world with your family, savor on it and hold on to it, and you know, make sure that they believe in your dream. And if you're also a believer like me of the spiritual world, talk to your ancestors, talk to your God, and let them know what is happening in your life, what you want. And believe me, there's nothing more amazing than having your entire family back you up.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's so amazing. That's so profound. Growing up, who were some of your favorite actresses and actors?
I I love Maggie Benedict. Like she acted as Akon on Generations.
Yes.
So during her time, I would watch her on television, and whenever I noticed that she's very gestural. She talks with her hands, talks with her body.
Yeah.
And actors, guys, we can, we're borderline mentally, we're not okay sometimes, because you'll find me just staring at her, or when I was a child, I was just staring at her and I just randomly start performing or start reciting what she's saying.
Oh.
And I take that as my way of how I trained myself into acting, just by copying her, just by imitating her, just by looking at her gestures and trying to do the same thing that she's doing, essentially. And she's the one who's just always, flabbergasted me in her performance, like just jaw-dropping. And yeah, I've always loved her. I've always loved Jamie Bartlett as well.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, I've only met him once when I was shadowing the directors at Rhythm City. And just to watch him live was really, really surreal, because you meet Jamie and then you meet the character that he plays, or David Gennaro on set.
Yes.
You see the kind of embodiment that he takes on whenever he's on stage, on set rather. And those, when you witness these things, you steal them. You steal these traits from these actors. You steal the way in which they perform their conventions of sorts, and you try to implement them into your own work. So those are the people that have really influenced me locally.
Okay.
So
internationally, yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio is just like everything. That man is everything and more that I've always wanted to be as an actor. He's superb. He I don't know. I like, when you can't find the words to express the craft. And he's just sublime. And Viola Davis is just like another favorite of mine. I have a that woman's work. So those are my two international.
Okay. Wow. You've been in the industry for years now, and I'm assuming that you've encountered some rejection and criticism. How do you deal with those?
You move on. What can you do? I mean, I think for me, because of the fact that I've experienced so much rejection, there's nothing more that I can do but move on. I think what gives me a good foundation in my sanity when it comes to being accepted or rejection is the fact that acting is not the only thing that I do. So as I had mentioned, I went to Wits and I studied film and television. And this is what I tell my mentees as well, my kids, that listen, become an actress, yes, but there's more to the industry than acting. You won't survive. Actress. This is the honest truth. You won't. We don't make a lot of money. We're not America. We're not Hollywood. We're South Africa. We live in a very broken economy. And actors, as you see, we die without having medical aid. We die without having wills and funds and without investing, because we don't have a lot of money. Thank God. Thank God. My production company, we have medical aid, guys. Like, we're blessed. But production companies isn't. And so I tell them, listen, you can't rely on acting, because I have a job now, but I may lose it in 2 months because people aren't liking me, for something like that, or something may happen in my life. I may be cancelled. Things happen. And in order for you to keep your sanity in this industry, you need to have another income. So you need to develop other skills, even if it's not in the entertainment industry. Do something else. If you have another qualification, great. At least you have something to fall on. And you know, if you want to stick to the entertainment industry, learn about film. Learn how to do sound. Learn how to be a DOP. Learn how to write. Learn how so many other disciplines. And I tell them, listen, you can't just. The entertainment industry is a system. It's a very big system that you can't just, you know, learn on one thing. You need to do everything, understand everything. If I'm an actress, I need to know, I'm going to read my script. And when I read my script, sometimes, you know, writers will write something that doesn't make sense. And as a person now who studied writing, I can be able to now change a few things in the script and improvise.
Wait. Do you guys change like the script? You don't?
Yes. Yeah, to make it adaptable to the character. Okay. Sometimes, not all the time. As long as the gist of the story is there. Oh. Right? As long as the core of the story is there. So we could change a word or two. So in my current work occupation, I will receive the script in English. And then I will translate it in Zulu that I feel works for my character, you know, because I'll just, because it just feels it will feel natural to me.
I'm so sorry to cut you. I just have so many questions. So do you receive the script in English and then you translate it?
Well, sometimes it will be translated as well. I mean, I also get translated as well, already translated, depending on who. I mean, it'll be Xhosa and there'll also be Zulu. It'll be translated. But sometimes I will want to translate it to my Durban Zulu. Or I want to translate it, or I'll ask somebody else who speaks Xhosa to translate a few lines into a particular type of Xhosa, because, you know, there's different dialects. Okay. So yeah. Can I
ask? I'm so okay. Yeah. Let's say I'm Tonga, right? You are Xhosa, and then you decide to translate how do this thing work? You decide to translate to Xhosa, and then
it'll be written in English. It'll be written in English. Okay. The original script is always in English.
Okay.
And so you'll have my character name, you'll have the dialogue, and then you'll have the translation underneath.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and then sometimes I won't feel like saying a particular, you know, it won't work for me, the translation. I want to translate it into my own way. There will be for my character that I feel to know, because you know I've played this character. We're not referring to the state, we're referring to everything that I've done. Yeah. Because you find that I've played this character for long enough for me to really know the core of her, and I'd be like, you know, we all have our preferred meanings for everything. We all have interpretations. But at the end of the day, I'm the one who's going to be saying it. I'm the one who's going to be reciting these words. And have to feel comfortable, but we'll have to obviously, of course, speak to the director to confirm and say, can I say it this way instead of the way that it's written? But the main fact is that I'm saying what is written in the English. Whatever is written in the English, I'm saying that, but I'm just translating it in my own way. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Wow. What were we talking about before? Oh yeah, no, I was talking about you can't rely on one on profession. So I mean, as I was saying, as an actress, I need to know I read my script, as I was saying, I'll read my script. And for me, as a person who majored in directing and editing at Wits, I already have an idea of how it's going to be directed. Like I see how in my mind, I will direct it in my mind, because I get that. Yeah. Right. By the time we get onto set, it's just a bit easier because I already saw how it was going to be. But you know, the director don't have the same kind of minds Perhaps they'll do something with it, but there's like a gist of it where I see what's okay. It's gonna be like this, and that's what makes things seamless when we get on set. We get on set, we perform, we move on to the next one because we're prepared.
Oh,
you know, when you get there as well, you, as I said, so that's just like the directing part as well. So, and you also have to be aware of things like lighting. And so if you want to learn something else, learn how to light a person. Because, you know, when I get on set, I will perform and then I feel that my lighting is, I don't feel my lighting. And so I will know, instead of now me bothering the person who does the lighting and the camera work, I'll know to move now because I know that the lighting, you know, because it's just like small things like that you'll learn as an entertainer, because now I'm no longer just an actress, I'm an artist, I'm all round. I know when sound is, you know, it's just small things like that, because you become conscious of these things and you want to learn more, you want to get into it. You might find, okay, I actually like, you know, the work, the DOP's work, and I want to get into that as well.
Wow.
So that's why I say, I always tell them, it's not going to help to just be an actress. You may lose your job after some time, or your contract may end. Learn something.
Thank you so much for opening up about everything that's going on, because we only see what we see on television and we just think this is just it.
Not all fun, games and pretty. It's not all fun and games and prettiness. You need to be very strategic when you're entering into the entertainment industry. You have to be prepared, mentally prepared, especially.
How was it like when you get your first big break?
My first big break was MTV Shuga in 2016, 17.
Yeah, you played the Khensani.
Yeah. So I was a student at the University of Witswatersrand, and I was doing my second and third year.
Okay.
I say that because we did auditions in October, and we were shooting in November, December, January, something like that. So we shot between the 2 years.
Okay.
So I was studying, I was doing my exams, I was writing my exams. And so it was not easy, it was really difficult. But I knew that it had to be done, because what I tell my kids who are studying as well, that it's important to work while you are studying, especially if you're studying film. Practice filmmaking, through shadowing and doing internships, and it helps. It helped me a lot being on MTV Shuga as an actress, because I was able to watch other people work, and when I was watching, I would adapt a few traits from, you know, a couple of people, the crew here and there, implement that into my schoolwork. So it wasn't just about the acting, it was also about the filmmaking as well, and the storytelling. So it, you know, I got to build my craft as a filmmaker all around. And I got to also meet amazing people who were really supportive of what I do. And that's another thing, that you need to be very careful in the industry of who you surround yourself with, because not everybody is going to be for you. We're all competing for the same thing in the industry.
How do one know that this is the one?
You won't certainly know. You'll just feel it, so that I don't think I want to be around this person. Oh, I like this person's energy, and you know, and you'll I don't like this person's energy. You need to in this industry, you need to learn to conserve, or rather to protect your energy, because, as I said, we're all fighting for the same thing. We're all fighting to get a job, because our contracts last for 2 months, our contracts last for 3 months, and then you find that contract doesn't include certain clauses that allow us to enjoy the riches of repeating episodes. or repeating films. And, you know, now we have money after spending 2-3 months on set. And this money is only going to last for 5 months.
Oh.
And what am I going to do after that? You know? So, but that's that. So, but we're talking about the question at hand. How is it like? Yeah. So it was a great stepping stone into moving into the industry and certifying my space. And even though I was still at the bottom, it allowed me to grow, because before that I had no agent, I had no representation. So I was found, Shuga found me on their open auditions. I was number 700 and something, where I woke up in the morning and I was so tired, because I had been doing open auditions for years, and every acting agency had rejected me, and they all told me, if you want to get into our agency, you need to study. And instead of studying acting, I did film. But at the same time, I wanted to work, because I knew that there were some actors who had agencies and were working. And what kind of a privilege are these people living, because they're studying and working? Why can't I also get into an agency? And after MTV Shuga, it's only then now people want to start representing me. These agencies now want to represent me after 10 years of looking for an agent. So I got representation, and from then on I started doing a lot of commercials, a lot of adverts. And after that I got into a sitcom, and from then on, after the sitcom, I completed my degree at Wits, and did more commercials, did some films here and there, and then the pandemic hit. And then after the pandemic, even during the pandemic, it was really tough, because traveling between Durban and Johannesburg and Cape Town wasn't so easy, considering I had no money on top of that. But as I said, I had a great support system. My family, my living family was really supportive, and my spiritual family was just as supportive. So if ever I had an audition, my family, my mother and my sister were the first ones to book me a flight. It's not even a bus, a flight. From Durban to Johannesburg, because I'd have an audition the next morning. So here you are spending 700 Rand to go to Johannesburg, or even 1,000 Rand to go to Johannesburg the next morning, just to find that you didn't get the part. You know, it happened to me for almost a year and a half, until I got Wounds on One Magic, and Khensani Showmax. So that was, you know, a relief. It was a relief. But the thing is that I'm grateful for is that my family would book me those flights without question, without a doubt. They would book it for me and say, you have to go, you have to. And, you know, I'd feel so bad. I'm like, yo, guys, for this past year, you guys have been booking me buses and flights, and nothing has happened. Nothing has come out of it. But we believe in you. Like, no, this is the one. Every time it was, this is the one. And then another audition would come. It never happened until it happened, you know. And I've experienced so much rejection, but what always picked me up is my family. They'd always be, you know, the next one, you're gonna get it. And when the next one would come, they'd be like, no, man, this is you. This is definitely for you. And it wouldn't come through. As I said, until Wounds happened and until the estate happened. So those are my humble beginnings.
That's so inspiring.
Yeah, thank you.
That's so powerful.
Thank you.
Wow. Samke, there are a lot of people who are going through hard times, people who are going through depression, people who who don't feel like they don't even see a purpose of going on, what kind of advice would you give to someone who's struggling?
In the industry?
No, in general.
In general?
Yes.
Well, I think I'll speak on that in a personal kind of way, because I've gone through that myself.
Okay.
And it certainly isn't easy. It certainly isn't easy to overcome any type of mental health issue, right? But what I found helped me was just firstly acknowledging that I have a problem, acknowledging this is something that's affecting me, that it's affecting my purpose, affecting my life, affecting my family, and just acknowledging that I need to do something about it, and just asking myself, well, what makes me happy? And these are the same questions that my friends and family also have asked themselves when they went through mental health issues. So that what can make me happy? What will get me out of this? What puts a smile on my face? How can I move through? And for me personally, it was working out. I love, back in my days, I used to be a cross-country runner. And those are one of the things that used to make me so content. And I had to go back to that girl, go back to that little girl who loved putting on her running shoes and just running for kilometers on kilometers on kilometers.
Wow.
So not only was I helping my body out physically, when I work out, I find that it helps me mentally as well. It helps me think straight. It helps it just helps me all the way around. And I had to go back to my purpose and finding out and thinking, what is my purpose in my life? And when I was going through mental health issues, it was during my time at Wits. It was during my time at Wits when I was really struggling with a lot of work at the same time. At Wits, we call it's the edge. It's like a week called the edge, where it's a week of tests, exams, everything at once, submissions at once. And, when I was at Wits, as I said, I was working at the same time. So studying I never had too much time to study. So for me, any time that I could get was study time, but it was difficult because balancing wasn't so easy. And so the depression would set in, the depression would hit in. I mean, not a lot of people know this, but it was difficult. And I had to then, as I said, center myself and figure out how can I get out of this, and confront myself and realize, no, I used to love running. I used to love jogging. I used to love working out. Let me get back to that girl and find myself again. As I said, my purpose is to become a filmmaker and tell stories about women and children. And essentially what came out of it was telling stories about mental health. And when my first short film that I just
Hello.
Writing. I just finished writing. Hello.
Yeah, I've lost you for a moment there. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, I can.
Okay.
Where did we end?
Yeah, you were telling me about your first film. That's why I lost you. Yeah.
So I mean, I wrote. I mean, alternatively, this whole narrative with mental health issues ended up. I ended up finding a way to conquer it by writing about it. So writing about it through my purpose, which is filmmaking. And I have a film that I have a script rather that I wrote about a young girl who's gone through the depths of mental health issues. And so yeah, that's just like my way of doing things. And I can't speak for other people because I don't know what they like. Yes. But the one thing that I can say is find a way to talk to yourself and confront yourself and do a bit of a self-evaluation and figure out what is it that truly makes you happy, and think of those days when you were and try go back to who that person was. And try build from that, and not focusing too much on the negative. But you know, the negative is always going to be there. That's just the happy part about it all. And I think for me, how I came through was just focusing on the good, because I knew as I said, I knew my purpose. I knew what I wanted, and like nothing was going to stand in my way from getting there. And just by merely focusing on the good, I overcame. And I can speak on behalf of my friends and family who've done the same thing. I have a family member who went through the worst kind of depression, and her psychologist told her what makes you happy, and from that moment, with her psychologist, I implemented it into my life, where I did my own evaluations and thought, what makes me happy? Let me get to the core of that and get back to her. And to get back to my family member, she realized that she loves dancing. And for the first time in years, she switched on the radio and started dancing. And she realized, I need to get back to her. Let me reconnect with my but you know, I'm just speaking on behalf of myself and you know, people that I know. I don't know what more to add for Abanya Bantu, but that, because it's such a journey that, you know, you need to figure out. I want to say figure out on your own. I don't know if that's a safe thing to say, because I mean, that's how I think I'm just speaking about myself, that I nobody else could help me but myself. Nobody else could help me but myself. I needed to somehow see the big picture and be like, I need to do something about it. I need to get up and take it. Yeah.
Wow. That's so great.
As I said, I'm speaking for myself.
Yeah. How do you define success?
How do I define success?
Yeah.
That's a good one. It's not through money, that's for sure. I wonder, I mean, you know, these questions you ask, I always want to reflect them back to myself so that I can have a way to answer.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking, I don't know if I consider myself successful or not. I mean, I've reached some of the pinnacles that I've planned to reach. So I guess as long as you get to where you want to be, that is success. Yeah. It's also things that make you happy, things that make you whole, and you realize, no, I've reached my level of success, and I feel that I'm in that space for now. So I guess I feel like I'm in the beginning stages.
Yeah. Sure.
No, I think you should ask me that question another time. Not yet. I'm still trying to find myself. You know? Yeah. Next.
And then failure. How do you define failure?
Failure. How do I define failure? Well, certainly I know that it doesn't define me.
Wow.
It doesn't define me, because I've gone through the worst. Oh, wow. I've gone through the pits, but I'd never see my downfalls as failures. I just see them as lessons learned. I work on them, my failures, so that I don't experience them again. Yeah, I don't look down upon my failures. I don't.
Okay.
I embrace them. And I think that's just how we should all approach it.
Okay.
As I said, I don't know how many failures I've gone through in my life, but they never define me because of the fact that I embrace them and work on them. And we work on them to improve and become a better version of ourselves. Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good answer. What's the definition of a well-lived life?
A well-lived life.
Yeah.
I don't fear death.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't. Especially after coming to terms, or rather, especially after embracing my family on the other side. Because, we live in a very westernized world that, after the what do they call it? The magic trick that the missionaries came and they gave us the Bible.
Yeah.
Our eyes, they gave us the Bible, and then they left, and then we were given Christianity, and we were told Christianity is the way. After that, generation after generation, all we know is Christianity. And after embracing my African spirituality, where was I going with this? Where was I going with this thought? This happens to you when you get my age. What was your question again, sorry?
What's your definition of a well-lived life?
Yes, well-lived life, sorry. And I was saying I don't fear death.
Yeah.
I embraced as I said, I embraced my African spirituality. And I know that when I get to the other side, I'm in safe hands, and I can't wait for my family on the other side. And for me, a well-lived life is one that is of discipline. And my discipline comes from my spiritual family. I listen. They talk to me, and it's that good conscience that sits on your shoulders.
Yeah.
And I listen to them. I listen to them carefully. I'm very grateful for their advice. And then I listen to my family, my family in the physical world, and they give me advice as well. And I've noticed for me that my life works out so much better when I listen and I take honest criticism from my family. And my life, where was I going with this thought process? But yeah, I think for me, after that realization,
yeah,
everything around me just doesn't matter. I love everything that I have. I love everything that I love my journey. But at the end, what I'm always told, that these are just things, man. And these are just things. And, at the end of the day, we're all going to go on to the other side. And it's not going to be valid. So, when I'm in my place, I pray. I just pray for a good day. I pray for a wholesome day. I pray for love, happiness, joy. I'm gonna pray for money and success and all that. Sometimes in my prayers, I end up forgetting to pray about things like that. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes I pray to forget for certain successes in my career, because I just am surrounded by like this really great energy that constantly reminds me that we are here for you. And when you come to us on the other side, that all of this is gonna be for nothing. It's nothing. But so every day, live it like it's your last, and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I enjoy my life, things just happen. Next minute I'm being called to host to be a guest host at the SAFTAs. I'm like,
yes, I saw that.
happened now? You know, as soon as I submit, as soon as I submitted to my God, as soon as I submit to God, when my ancestors are like, dude, your high power is calling you. God is like a jealous God. Like, talk to him, be interactive with him, pray and stuff, and talk to us as your ancestors as much as you talk to your family. And you know, and I did that, and I submitted to God.
Yeah.
I submitted to listening to my ancestors and being an obedient child to I mean, I'm old, but I still take advice like a child from my parents. And as soon as that happened, I just let go. I was like, no, man, like all these things are just things. But as soon as that happened, like out of nowhere, these blessings on blessings just happen. Yeah. And I know it's just the way the world works for me. Yeah, I think submission to your high powers, like the best way that I can explain it.
Yeah, Samke, I need to be honest with you. If there's one thing that I fear, is death. And I'm happy that you've shared, I fear death. I don't know whether it's because I've lost so many people of like my closed ones. I recently lost a friend. So if one thing that's been going on in my mind, I've been like questioning death. I've been like, I thank you for sharing.
It's extremely scary, like to leave. I mean, especially if you die young, to leave your friends, to know that you didn't truly live. I mean, you'll get to the other side, and from what I understand, I mean, as I said, I write on issues revolving, social issues revolving around men, revolving around women, children, and mental health. And for me, sometimes mental health can be a bit of a spiritual thing, because I mean, your spirit must be down and low, you know, to get to that space. And when I write about it, I sometimes also include spirituality. Yeah. And in doing those writings and exploring that, I got into the depth. I tried at least to get into the depth of the spiritual world. Yeah. And with that, I became close to my own spiritual family and my own African spiritual family. And that's just another thing that I'm trying to emphasize with my Black audiences, my rather African audiences, my Black African audiences, as well as the African diaspora, is for us to get back to our Africanity, to get back to the Africanism, to get back to our identity. Yeah. And realizing, because that's where our strengths lie. You know, I feel that is where we can gain. So, and if you haven't noticed, almost everybody's becoming a sangoma or a umuntu obonayo or a almost everybody is. It's a revolution. I feel that I only feel like there's a serious revolution because we're the generation who's becoming so woke to becoming woke to ourselves, becoming woke to our identity. We're a very intelligent generation, the very intelligent generation, and we fight. We have that same spirit. We have that same spirit as our ancestors who tried to fight off the colonizers when they came. And we were trying to get back what is ours, and we're merely getting assistance from the people of the spiritual world. And once I connected with that, I was like, no, man, when I get to the other side, I know that I have an army behind me. And it's not just, it's not just my grandmother and my grandpa who passed recently. Yeah. It's also my great-grandpa, my great. It goes so far beyond. And I after doing research, I found that I spoke to a medium, actually, an Indian lady who's a medium in Durban. Yeah. And she said, for my film, and she goes, you know, you have an ancestor that you don't know, but she knows you. She's been with you forever. And
Wow.
ever since she told me that, I felt her because I talk to her now. So whenever I'm like, listen, Gogo, I'm going through something, like, can we both? I pray with her. So, and that's another thing that Black people need to understand, that when you pray, do not pray alone. Because you have to acknowledge amadlo zakho that are praying with you to God. Because when you have all those prayers, you have your prayer, you have your ancestors praying for you, and God is just now, he has to listen. Like God has to listen, because we're all praying the same thing now, and yeah. And because of that, I always feel comforted. And I know death, if it comes to me at a young stage, I don't even want to talk about it, because I don't want to put it in the I don't want to put it out there. But
yeah, please.
No, but even if it comes, I know that I truly enjoyed life. I do, because every day is to me is a successful day. Every day is a successful day to me. As long as I know that I never walked alone. I walked with my army. It's all good. And my work will still continue even on the other side.
Oh.
No, it will. It has to. Because when you go to the other side, you're given a job. And whatever job that it is, just make sure whatever work I do, it has to be good. And one way or another, my goals will happen through my children or my great-grandchildren or somebody. But as my great-grandmother's work is seen through my doing. So one way or another, it will happen.
Wow. I'm trying to take everything in. I'm trying to take everything in.
It's facts. Like, I mean, Black people are just destined for amazingness, for perfection. We just need to embrace the help that's around us and speak it. We're destined for your amazing things, and we're still going to grow. I mean, we're facing like really really crappy things right now. With the really greedy people in parliament and government. But we have to find ways around it. And if we're going to go back to talking about the industry, like per se, it's difficult to get money to make films. But at the same time, we have other platforms like Netflix and we have other streaming platforms which could assist. But at the same time, you also have to think, if I do my film now through this platform, the money is still gonna go to Hollywood, which is interesting, because you want to keep the money here. You want to grow.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to grow the people. You want to grow the country, the continent, and all. But it's difficult. But I believe somehow we'll get there. I think we deserve it. We deserve so much.
True. What's next for Samke? Where would you like to see yourself in the next 5 or 10 years?
Well, what I'm doing right now is what I've been praying for. To be in a telenovela and have enough time to also work on my films. So hopefully everything will have flourished in 5 years' time, where I'll have just enough films that I've written, directed, and edited, or whatever the case may be. And yeah, I would really, my end goal in my life right now is to have a very united film industry in Africa. I have developed a huge love again for African cinema. I am obsessed with African cinema, and we haven't had enough recognition. And I'm really happy with what's happening right now with, you know, series like The Brave Ones. You know, now we're thinking out the box and we're getting into different genres.
Yeah.
And I want to see more of that, and I want to be a part of that, but on a much bigger scale, where we're inclusive of other countries.
Okay.
On the continent. I'm a big Pan-Africanist.
Yeah.
And I want to now watch something created by myself where, you know, we have Kenyan, Nigerian, Malawian actors in one stage, on one set, and members on one set. I just want to experience or be a part of that growth of a film industry in Africa that's beyond borders, that breaks down borders. And at the same time, I really want all those monies to be invested in Africa. The part is that, you know, these big streaming sites, at some point, as I said, the money will always go back to Hollywood. It would just be for us to do things for ourselves. But, you know, we live on a continent that has really greedy leaders, and you know, our growth is always stopped by them. So hopefully, there's something is going to be done. So yes, you know, I hope and I pray that we will be able to, well, I will be able to be in that space where African cinema is now leading. Like, not to say that I don't want Nollywood, but I just want like Africa wood. Not
our own thing.
Yeah, not a wood per se, because now we're copying our Hollywood, Bollywood. We have to have our own.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just want to be a part of that. So, you know, with my film that I'm doing right now, it's very, with the films and the writing that I'm doing right now, it's very Pan-African, very for Africa. And so I hope that it'll at least be one step forward into that goal.
Is there anything that you would like to share with us that I didn't ask?
No, I think you've asked pretty difficult questions and relevant questions as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to ask any more questions, I'm always available on my Facebook. A lot of people send DMs. And I try to answer as many as I can. I don't answer to questions. I don't do small talk. I can't be like, hi, how are you? I'm good. No. If you're gonna ask a question on my Facebook, get straight to the point. Like, really get to it. Hi, how are you? This is my question. And I'll get to answered. Perhaps I have already answered on my page, because I tend to answer questions on the page instead of answering one by one, because I get so many messages on Facebook.
Thank you.
That's the space, that's the go-to space. My Facebook page, Samke Makhoba, is the place where the platform where people can ask whatever question they like regarding the industry and only.
And thank you for always sharing. And I wanted to say thank you for always sharing the job opportunities. We appreciate it on your page.
Oh, you videos, yeah. I mean, I share them because I've been there before. That's how I got Shuga. I got Shuga because someone was sharing, and I followed them because they were sharing. So I mean, what's gonna stop me from sharing as well? I mean, somebody could get a job from it happened for me. It could definitely happen for you too.
Yes. In closing,
as I said, I'm very open for questions.
Yeah. In closing, Samke, I'm truly enjoying this. In closing, this is the question which I ask all my guests on the podcast. When it is all said and done, how would you like to be remembered?
Through my work, obviously.
Yeah.
I'd love to be remembered. I'd love to be remembered as that young Black woman. Even if I'm not young, I mean that woman, that Black woman who brought African cinema back. That Black woman who revived African cinema and brought Africans together, especially in this very dire period that we're going through as a country where, you know, understandably, I see where people are coming from with this hashtag of put South Africans first.
Yeah.
But I am also very much put Africa first.
Oh.
I put my continent. I put my continent first before anything else. I love my people of Africa. I would love to consider Africa as my country instead of my continent. And that's the message that I would really want to come together. And you know, filmmaking is not just entertainment to me. We write and we perform and we do everything with intention. And I hope the content that I will bring will exude that intention, will show that intention, and it is through bringing Africans together and educating people outside of our continent about who we are and what we're about, and that we must not, and that this is not, you know, those days of colonization will not define us, and us getting back to who we are.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time, and I would like to host you again soon so we can continue the conversation. There's still a lot of things that I want to know, that I want to ask, but due to time.
We'll talk again after my.
After?
Yeah. We'll talk again after I've made a film.
Yes. I would like that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.